Hello everyone, this is Shadow Dragon from the DCUO community. And I normally don't review seasonal events, but for this time around I'm gonna go ahead and review the summer one. And I may end up doing this going forward, just because the list of items this year has increased greatly. And it's kind of overwhelming when you first look at it. It's almost the size of like a large event vendor. Also, the video in the background is just stock footage of just random open world runs with my alts. I actually wanted to do this like live on like while I was looking at the vendor, but I just didn't get a chance to shoot this towards the end. The last few days were kind of busy with real life, so I wasn't able to record any videos. So I'm going to try to do this mostly from memory, although I took some notes on my other monitor. So going over the items in the vendor, the trend with the collections is to, add some new collections and put the final pieces on the vendor. So what we have for the summer event is the final piece for the one that completes the aquarium aura costs 100 sand dollars. I think that was like the Megalodon jaw or something. And then there was another one for the Knight of Atlantis title, with the final piece being 6 sand dollars. So that's 106 right there. Each of those collections had 12 parts. The 11 parts dropped pretty evenly throughout the event, and then you just had to buy the last one. But I'll circle back to how I fared with everything at the end. Alright, then we've got a whole bunch of base items, and I hope I noted this correctly. But I had 3 sandcastles, there were 2 different portholes, 3 towels, 3 tiki items. One was like a floor item and 2 were wall. And then there was a speaker. So that totaled, let's see, that is 12 items total, I think. I just hope I didn't miss anything there. But those varied in prices. Like, the items that were really detailed or deemed like cool by the developers were the sandcastles and the portholes. So those costed more. Those were 15 apiece, whereas the towels and tikis were 6 apiece. And the interactive speaker that had like the summer music was 50. So that should be a total of 161 sand dollars. And the base item collection, as usual, gives a 10-point feat. Every event has 2 10-point feats, and that was one of them. It's always a base item collection and a style completion. So the style collection consisted of 3 floaties, waste item, and those were $15 a piece for a total of 45. And then with this event, there was a second style for pirate parts. That was just like a head, a hook for the hand, and a peg leg. And that didn't award a feat that had feat points. It was 0 feat points, and it just gave you the title of captain. But each of those costed 50 sand dollars, because they weren't just styles, they were also scaling unattuned gear. So they kind of combined like alternate progression with a new style there. So that's a total of 150. And then they added a trinket that's just for fun, does no damage, and that's a beach ball that constantly respawns and cools down for another 50 sand dollars. So if you add all of that up, all of the items end up costing 512 sand dollars if you got one of everything. So that part of it might seem overwhelming, and people panic when they see like a large list because they feel like they need to get everything. But the important thing to note is that only two of these item types will award the feat points for this round of the seasonal. So it's the base item list and then the floaties list. So that would be that's 161 plus 45 for the floaties. So that's really just 206 sand dollars to complete the feats for this event, for this round of the event. And the event goes 34 days. You earn 10 a day, 5 from the outside, 5 from the inside. So that comes out to a total of 340 sand dollars. And this I didn't add in the day after, because you could have slipped in a run like if you woke up before reset, because this event, it switches over on reset, so it does flow into the next day. But I'm only counting the 34 full days. So 340, no replays, 1 tune. You should be able to get the feat points. Now, in order to get the 512 for all items, all you needed was one other alt, which you didn't necessarily need to run every day. So it is pretty reasonable for free, and I saw a lot of people running low-level alts and experienced people, because if you queued up with a tune that was below or 27 or below, you had a tendency to be in the pre-30 queue, and there were a lot of people with like level 10s that actually knew how to play the event. So definitely players were farming alts for extra sand dollars and to help complete all the items. So I ran my usual army of 18 alts. I didn't add any new ones, so it's the ones that I normally take out during any other seasonal event. And I would say there were a lot of days where I ran all of them through the inside and outside, because they adjusted the inside to a point where it was super easy. Like if you had pretty much one tune that knew what they were doing, you could hit all the consoles, and then everyone else could just be button mashing the boss, and you would succeed, even at a lower level. Like your defense was a little bit lower, but it was fast enough that you would get past it. So towards the beginning of the event, I probably ran close to every tune, both inside and outside. Maybe the final week and a half, I started getting tired of it, and I would just skip like one or the other depending on mood. But either way, like 18 tunes, like I definitely overkilled what I needed to get all the items. So what I ended up spending on was the Aura collection was the most expensive item at $100 sand dollars to complete. I bought that piece on 4 different characters. My 2 mains, Alyssa and Shadow Dragon. It didn't really fit Takhisis, so I didn't get the final piece for her. I did put one on my upcoming water tune, and then another one on my premium account just because it's a different account, and I just wanted to complete that there. And then just grab that title on. I just have 2 alts on that account. For the Knight of Atlantis collection, I think I completed that on all 18, because that was only 6 sand dollars. That's like a half event run to complete. For both collections, the drops were pretty even and pretty common. Like for the Aquarium collection, I probably have 11 out of 12 on most tunes. They were so common that I didn't even pay attention to which ones I was missing. For the Knight of Atlantis one, same thing. There were a couple of tunes that ended on. There was one called like Barnacle from Mara's Crown. Maybe 2 or 3 ended on that one, but other tunes ended on different ones, so it's hard to tell if one was actually more rare than the other. If there were rarity tiers, they weren't like far apart. So the collections are completable, providing that you had enough sand dollars left to buy the last piece.
Why settle for the base model when you can have upgrades?
For the base item feat, I manually collected that on the same tunes as the Aquarium aura. So it was Shadow Dragon and Alyssa, my water character, and then one character on the premium account.
Prepare for a din.
And for other characters, they just bought whatever parts matched like portions of their base. And I did end up buying a lot of the 2 portholes for the various league halls. So that's again for the Hero League Hall, and then I have 2 personal ones that I just collected parts for. I didn't collect any for my actual Villain League Hall because that's still the moon-based theme, so it wouldn't make sense to have portholes. So that was just 4 characters, and then unlocked on the rest. For the floaties, I collected that on, I believe, 5 characters. Just my top 3, and the theme just matched one of my other characters. And one for the premium count, unlocked on the rest. For the pirate style, that doesn't actually match any of my characters' themes, so I just collected that on 1 character on each account that basically had the extra marks but nothing else to spend it on. So that was just an unlock, like collect and unlock. And for the beach ball, I just got that on 3 different characters. And that sounds like a lot, so even after spending all of that, I probably have roughly 100 to 150 left on most of my characters. And they also have additional items in their inventory for possible future use or possible selling on the broker. So I think I got everything I wanted, and I have a pretty good head start on whatever they're going to add next year. It was definitely the ease of the alert that contributed most to being able to earn sand dollars quickly, and also getting like every alt, whatever level, through it. So even though I fared pretty well with this, I do have a couple of problems with the vendor list in the event. Yeah, the trend with the collections, it does kind of bother me that like most of my characters are going to have like that list with 1 item missing. So that's kind of one bad thing about having the last piece in the vendor. But I mean, I guess it's understandable if the reward is like something that's visually appealing, you know, because like the aura is more visually appealing than, you know, like a past item where if you complete a collection, you just got like a face mask or something. So it's definitely more involved development-wise, and so I can kind of understand that, but it just sucks to have that one thing missing from your alts. As far as the base items, it's like my complaint is the same as most other seasonal lists, where you need to collect 1 of each item. Like as a builder, I want to be able to collect like a fixed number of any item. because I may want to spam one item and just use like a repeated pattern and still get the feat. But like if I want to do that on the character that's collecting the feat manually, I have to get all the items and then duplicates to build the base. At least this time around they didn't throw in a League Hall one that you had to collect, because that's kind of a throwaway, waste of dollars. One of the bad things about the 2017 version of Summer is that a lot of the base items you had to collect costed more than usual. Because you had like the lower items at 6 and then the better looking ones at 15, and there were a lot of 15s. It was the sandcastles and portholes, so that's five good items. It would be nice if you had to collect a certain amount and then all of the items were the same price, because that way there would be like no lower way of getting the total feat. The other odd thing about this seasonal that was different than other seasonals this year was the fluff item was included into the feat list, and I'm talking about the speaker that had the sound effect added to it. And it was, what event was it that had that? I think it was St. Patrick's. Yeah, there was another event that had a speaker, but it wasn't part of the feat list, and it was jacked up to 50 because it was a fluff item. So I just don't like the fluff item being included into the base item feat list. It really should be separate. The floaties for the style feat, I'm okay with that. That's pretty fair. 15 apiece, and you only need to get 3. Yeah, it's definitely a quick and easy one to get, and pretty equivalent to past years with the style feat. And the second one with the pirate style, I would have liked for those to be just separate items and no feat. But it's understandable that they wanted to award a title with that, so that's kind of cool to have them as part of a set. I guess the problem I have with this one is that they combined it with the scaling gear, so then that again jacked up each one to 50. And as like a character builder, I would have liked to collect this or certain parts on certain characters maybe, rather than putting thought into which character I want to scale up and spend extra money on. So I kind of hope in the future that they separate like new unique styles from alternate progression. If something's alternate progression, it should probably be a recycled style, or maybe there should have been 2 versions of this, where there was a cheaper one to just collect the style. And there's no feat points involved anyway, so if you wanted to gear up, you buy the alternate progression version. If you want to build character, you buy the cheaper style only version. So yeah, I just hope they separate that in future events, because we're probably going to see this again. There's always been like an alternate progression piece since I think the last Christmas event, so that's definitely a thing now. The trinket's fine. It's 50 sand dollars. There have been battle trinkets that were 100, but again, it's just a fluff item, not required, no feat. So I think that's fine at 50. Overall, I can understand that the total list of items is going to go over than what you could possibly earn on one toon running the event every day, because they they still have the marketplace seasonal currency that they have to sell, so um, that's probably part of the reason for that. But the other thing is, a lot of players have to keep in mind that it's possible to get the 2 feat items with 1 toon playing the event every day. And in order to get everything, all you need to do is play your main, and then occasionally an alt, like probably half the time of an alt, and you can get everything. So I think initial complaints about the cost of items were probably towards the beginning of the event, and then once you played it and got the pace, that probably went away. Because the list, like, it looks overwhelming to me first, like especially on day 1 when I look at it, even though I know I'm going to be running and farming this with everyone. But that's just our initial reaction, and I think a lot of gamers are used to that initial first reaction, and we kind of calm down after.
For Atlantis, I fight on.
The different iterations of the summer event have always had good furniture, and that's my primary motivation for farming this on all alts. But as far as content, like, this is probably the one I hate the most. Definitely because of the outside. The inside actually became likable because of all the adjustments they made. And it's pretty much a formality. Like, you're gonna succeed. I haven't been in one failed run of the inside. I've been in, like, semi-bad runs where there were kind of like 3 new players, all below level 30, but we still got past it. Because it's possible to hit all 3 cogs. And actually, a side effect of the bad run was they also adjusted that feat where you need to kill all the ads. Because if you had a bad run, you ended up killing all the ads. So that was kind of a side effect for alts that didn't have it, and if the feat wasn't unlocked on an alt. But that's all I had. That's my review of the 2017 Tides of War. I'm gonna go ahead and let this video run. Coincidentally, I used like 3 clips of 3 of my Dragonlance iconics. So the first part was Lord Soth, then it cut to Goldmoon, and currently it's Lord Verminard. So until the next video, thanks for watching.
I have failed you, King Arthur. Ocean Master will restore our glory.
You will pay for that. I only wanted to protect Atlantis.
Way to blow those loyalists out of the water. At this rate, Ocean Master will be getting fitted for his shiny new crown within weeks. Check back with him tomorrow. His forces might need some shoring up. Yeah, that just happened.